So you're going to start by cutting one main piece of string. This is going to be how long your macrame leaf or feather is going to be. So I'm just going to make a small one today to hang on my wall. So I'm not going to use that large of a piece. It's about the length of my hand when folded over. And then you're also going to take your roll of yarn and you're going to cut several other pieces of the same length. It doesn't really matter how long you make them. These are going to be the tassels that go off the side of your macrame leaf. So I'm going to make a feather, so I don't need to make them that long, but if you are going to be making a leaf, you might want to consider making yours a little bit longer, and you'll see how these attach later. So I'm just going to go ahead and cut about 20 more of these. Okay, so now that I have quite a few more tassels cut, we're going to begin the macrame. So this one only requires one type of knot, and it's quite simple. So what you're going to do is you're going to fold one of the strings in half and place it over top of your main tassel, and then you're going to place another loop in half, and this time place it underneath the tassel, so you have one over top and one underneath, and you're going to put the tail end of the tassel that's underneath through the loop of the one above, and the tail end of the one above through the loop of the one below. So once it's a little bit tightened, it'll look like that, and then we're just going to go ahead and pull it all the way tight. And I'm going to slide mine up a little bit. So I'll just show you that once again. So you'll place one underneath, so you can see that on my main string here, it's laying over top of my smaller piece that's folded in half. And then I'm going to take another tassel folded in half, place it on top. And on this side here, I'm going to take the tail end from the bottom half, or from the bottom tassel, and pull it through the loop on the top one, like that. And then I'm going to take the tail end of this one on top and pull it through the loop on the bottom. And then I'm just going to go ahead and pull that tight, slide it up towards my other knot, and you'll start to see how the process goes down. So I'm just going to go ahead and pause, and I'll continue my knots down, and I'll show you what it looks like at the end. Okay, so when you get to your knots being at the end where the two original strands you started with are about the same length as your side tassel strands are, that's where we're going to stop. And I'm going to quickly show you the knot one more time with some bigger pieces of string so that it's a little bit clearer. Okay, so with this being your original strand here, and these being your two side strands, you're going to take your first tassel strand and place it underneath your original strand. And then you're going to take your second tassel strand with the loop on the opposite side of the first one and place it on top. You're then going to pull the end tail of the string on the bottom through the top loop and pull the end tail of the string on the top through the bottom loop. Then holding the ends, if you pull it tight, you end up with your knot around the middle and your two side strands. So now that we have this, and it looks a little bit crazy because it's a rectangle, you're going to go ahead and you can either use your fingers for this part, but we're just going to kind of separate the strands on the side. I like to use a fork and just kind of use it as a brush to comb them out. If you have an old hairbrush or something, that'll work as well. We're just going to kind of mess up the sides until they look really frayed, and I'll show you what that looks like. So this is what it looks like after it's all brushed out. Kind of looks a little bit crazy, but we're now going to take scissors and you're just going to trim along the edge into your desired shape so that it starts to look like a feather. So you're just going to want to keep it a little bit wider at the top and taper it down into a point at the end. So you can already see that this side here looks much more shaped and a little bit more like a feather than the other side does. And then if I go ahead and trim the other side, there we go. And you can just kind of mess around with it and cut more wherever you feel like until you are happy with how it looks. And if you were making a leaf instead of a feather, there are a couple of different ways you can do that. I tend to like to make my leaves a little bit more heart-shaped, so a little bit wider around the middle and then tapering off towards the top and the bottom. Yeah, so then there you have it, and you can hang it from a wall by this hook, or you can make a bunch of them and loop them through a string to hang on the wall.